Yo, what's going on, man? Today is October the 17th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is yet another edition of the NBA season team previews, man. We got a lot to talk about. Before we do so, hit the like button for me if you guys can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. Turn the notifications on if you guys haven't as well. And we just gonna jump right into it, man. For people who haven't been here, maybe you're new to the space, maybe you're new to myself. My name is Chris. Go by Crispy Capping. Crispy Capping, two P's, two N's. If you're watching on YouTube, and then if you're listening on Twitter, you can also sign up for. You can also just subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So definitely do those things and check out the preview shows that you've missed as well, especially if it's a specific team that you want to kind of hear my breakdown on. We're pretty much done. We've done, covered a lot of teams in the NBA. Matter of fact, we only have the Wizards, the Jazz, the Orlando Magic, Portland Trail Blazers, Charlotte Hornets, Houston Rockets, Detroit Pistons, and San Antonio Spurs left. So we got 4 more days of getting these previews done. We got the rest of the week, and then we have another one on Monday. The season actually starts on on Tuesday. So yeah, definitely go back and check out the preview shows that you've missed. All of them are recorded over on Twitter in the spaces, and they're also recorded on YouTube as well if you want to view the comments as you kind of listen along. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's talk about the Pacers. They're the first team up. They're the Eastern Conference team for today. So let me give you guys my thoughts on the Indiana Pacers. First of all, let's go through that. If you guys are listening in on if you're watching on YouTube, I do have the odds posted at the bottom. So for this team to win the Central, they're plus 4,000. To reach the playoffs, you actually can get them at a plus 145. I don't think that's a bad bet. To win the East, plus 1,300. And, of course, to win the title, they're actually 3,000 to 1. They're plus 30,000 for them to win the championship. So nobody's expecting the Pacers to go that far. Anything that intrigues me here, I think to win there, to reach the playoffs, I think the Pacers could be a potential playoff team. 145 plus 145 is not something that I feel strongly enough to play to wrap my money up for a plus 145 for the season, but I do feel like this is something that should be taken into consideration. Looking at the team, so what happened with the Pacers over the offseason? The biggest move is you bring in the recent NBA champ, which is Bruce Brown. They gave him the bag they had to. That's what he was looking for, and based on his performance, it's the NBA is a what have you done for me lately type of league, and he performed on the highest stage when they needed him the most and ended up winning the championship. So did they overpay for him? Absolutely, they overpaid for Bruce Brown. But they get Bruce Brown in free agency. They also get guard Ben Shepherd from the draft. They also got Walker from the draft, and then you bring in Obi Toppin in a trade with the Knicks, who I'm pretty high on Obi. I feel like he just kind of needs more minutes. Give Obi Toppin more minutes. We know that that's a popular theme. And he was kind of in Tibbs' doghouse. Even though Tibbs did play him, it just felt like he didn't play him, enough. So I'm kind of high on Obi. I do feel like, Tyrese Halliburton is the engine that makes this car go. I'm not sure if people been paying attention to what's been going on in the preseason, but Tyrese Halliburton hadn't been playing in the first couple games. He plays last night, and this team scores like 90 points through 3 quarters. So it's definitely something to watch. And of course, they believe in this guy. They gave Tyrese Halliburton the bag. It was a $200+ million contract. I forgot. It was the max, whatever his max could be. I didn't write the number down. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As far as subtractions, you only lose Chris Duarte. Chris Duarte is, I think, now in Sacramento, I want to say. One of the guys that they bought in that didn't get developed. So not a lot of big losses there. You look at what they were able to do last season. Tyrese Halliburton actually finished as one of the best point guards, kind of established himself as one of the best point guards in the NBA. We saw Ben Mathurin kind of kill it at the beginning of the season. I think the first 2 months of the season were probably his best 2 months before he kind of hit that rookie wall. If you go through and kind of look at his numbers. And this team finished 35-47. They weren't a playoff team. Of course, they weren't a playoff team, but they actually finished. I just want to see where they finished. They actually finished. That's what, 6, 7, 8, 9. They finished 11th in the Eastern Conference. And because I'm not as bullish on the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm not as bullish on the Chicago Bulls or the Toronto Raptors. I do think that the Pacers could end up potentially making the playoffs. That would, require them to not just make the play-in, but actually make the playoffs and be one of the 8 teams that are in. And I think that's feasible for them. I think that they win a few more games. If you look at what the books kind of anticipate for this team, let me get back to my notes. If you look at what the books anticipate for this team, they do have them sitting at 38.5 wins. So the books do kind of anticipate some positive correlation to the moves that they made and the development of this team. They also re-signed Miles Turner. And Miles Turner is big for people who don't watch the Pacers. There's a interesting trend. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I just kind of remember it off top. Is that if Miles Turner plays, you probably want to take the under in the Pacer game. And if Miles Turner doesn't play, you absolutely want to take the over because this team's just going to run. They want to run. They want to get up and down the floor as much as they possibly can. I think adding Obi definitely only helps with that. Another year of, progression for Ben Mathurin, I think, is going to be helpful. He's a big, strong, physical, confident, super confident, maybe sometimes overly confident, shooting guard / small forward that can get his, bull his way to the rim, also shoot the jump shot as well. I like the Pacers, man. I like the Pacers a lot. And if I'm not going to play the Pacers, I think what I will be playing this year, and you jot this rundown in your notes section, it's already in mine. I'm gonna be looking at the overs for this team, specifically in the first half, in the first quarter. I just think that when they have a healthy roster, I do think that they're gonna come out, give teams a lot of trouble early in the game. So and be able to score a ton of points. I think that this is a team where we're gonna see high totals for this team, but initially when the season starts, I don't think the number is gonna be high enough. I look for them to be able to kind of push the pace and kind of keep it going. And just play really, really fast. Like I think this team flies up and down the floor. I don't have their possessions per 100 possessions or per game, but I'm pretty sure that number is pretty high. And the eye test just tells me to take the over when I'm looking at this team. There'll be a bunch of 3-point shots. There'll be a bunch of fast break transition buckets. There'll be a bunch of oops thrown from Halliburton to Ben Mathurin, Halliburton to Obi Toppin, Halliburton to Miles Turner. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I think that if I had to, I'm not playing this win total, but if I had to take the win total, I would take the over. I think this team can win 40 games this year, close to, 30. I think they could go a game and a half, 2 games over this win total. But like I said, I'm most interested in backing this team towards the over. The last thing I'll mention about the Pacers specifically is that they do have the 10th easiest schedule as well. So while this team isn't necessarily young, not necessarily old, they also don't have to worry about, their scheduling as far as back-to-backs and third game in 4 nights. Doesn't really hamper them too much. So if they can stay healthy, which I think that they can, Miles Turner staying healthy will be a big part. Them being able to kind of protect the rim a little bit more. I think this team has a chance to, like I said, make to potentially be an 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. And, maybe they potentially win a play-in game. Finish as an 8th seed, a 7th seed, and go over this win total as well. So I like them. I like them to make the playoffs at plus 145, and I like their win total over 38.5 as well. And those are my thoughts on the Pacers, man. If y'all got anything, feel free to shoot me a request. Get you guys up. I'm gonna go through the YouTube comment section real quick. If I don't got anything, I'm gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna jump straight into the Western Conference and look at the Dallas Mavericks. Prolific says, I'm not high on the Mavs either. In fact, more like disappointed. You the best, Chris. Don't forget to bang that like button. Appreciate that, Prolific. We're about to talk about the Mavericks now. What's up to my guy David in the chat? He said, I'll be having a couple looks for the Pacers, born and raised in Indy. Okay, we might align on that, David. But my analysis is always going to be, objective. I'm not a subjective guy. My team is the Lakers, and I rarely bet on them. So I'm always just give you guys my thoughts and opinions, no matter whether people, are fans of the team or not. Keith says, great snipe on the Suns first quarter, first half. Glad you tell that, Keith. That was easy, man. I was beating myself up this morning because I didn't even watch the game. I was beating myself up for not going a little heavier on that. But yeah, that was easy. I'm glad I got a chance to share that with you guys as well. He says, Pacers are going to be one of my favorite teams to bet on. I just hope everyone is available for a good chunk of the games, especially Halliburton. I would agree with that as well. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to catch the Pacers in some good spots and back them this year. John says, I currently live in Indy, so I'll be checking out a couple of the Pacers games. Yeah, they should be fun. They should be really fun, John. I got to make sure I put that on my itinerary, man. I got to catch a Pacers game, too. Maybe I'll catch them in D.C. when they play against the Wizards, or in Charlotte when they play against the Hornets or something. But I'm trying to catch a Pacers game, too, man. Go see Obi catch some oops in transition or something. All right, cool. Appreciate y'all for tapping in there. Like I said, definitely hit the like button for me if you guys haven't already. Share the show, retweet the show, all that good stuff. It's definitely appreciated. And let's see what we got today. Looks like Stephen got some thoughts, and Keith as well. Keith might be in the chat. I think Keith in both chats. Appreciate you, Keith, for tapping in on both platforms, man. But let's go to Stephen first. Stephen, what's going on, my guy? How you doing? Talk to me about the Pacers this year.
Man, I'm doing excellent, bro. Can you believe it? We're like a week away. It feels like Christmas.
It do, man. It feels insane, actually. But these previews kind of reel me back in. It makes me, hold myself accountable with, evaluating these teams. So, if we stay ready, we won't have to get ready. And that's the mindset I like to take. So I'm not, leery of my, my bets on opening night or, game 2, game 3. I'm already, kind of confident in my picks and my analysis. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Stephen. Definitely right there with you, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. Before I get on the Pacers real quick, I just want to say everybody, Chris really does a service for the community. I mean, he brought so many people together. I know, like last year, really tapping in was fun. Please give this man a subscription to his page for his user picks. He's always giving out free picks. That Suns call yesterday was cash. The man will make you money, and the man flat out is a great dude, and he's doing a lot for the community. So please support Chris. But on the Pacers, bro, I agree with you 100%, man. I'm not on their win total or the playoffs, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs, and I do like their win total. And it really pains me because, like, Obi Toppin's on that team, and the Knicks did him dirty. But I do think that, like, everything you're saying, they're just like a young team. And a lot of times with the NBA, like, when you have a young team that's hungry, they're just going to play hard every night. And the Knicks a couple of years ago, when they got, like, that 5 seed, I'm going to say, like, they just kind of, like, did it based off of, like, they just played hard every night. They had young dudes that hustle all the time. And if you look at this Pacers team, you're going to have Halliburton, Bruce Brown, Miles. Obi's going to have something to prove. So, yeah, I don't have a ton to add. I just like the makeup of this team. They have a really good coach. They have a point guard who could be in the All-Star game. Like, they just have, like, a making of a team that can win, like, 42 games. And now you have, like, the Nets going to probably fall off. I can see them being better than, like, the Atlanta Hawks also. So, yeah, I'm just a big fan of this Pacers team overall.
Absolutely, Steph. It sounds like you kind of echo my sentiments. It sounds like we're on the same page there. I like this team too, man. I think that they, I think you bring in the addition of Bruce Brown, who gives you that championship pedigree. Probably, coaching those guys up. I agree, Steph. I'm not going to add too much more. I agree with what you said, man. And appreciate the love too. Appreciate the shout out and the love also.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. We so close. We can almost smell it. Almost can smell it. The NBA. Let's go to Keith. Keith, what's going on, my guy? How you doing, man? Oh, go ahead, Stephen. My fault. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can finish, Stephen. I thought you were finished. I'm sorry.
You hate injuries, but Liberty in 5.
Oh, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. I bet it at I didn't give it out, but I bet game 4 at -2.5, and I bet the series at +400. I think BetMGM had it at +400, Stephen. So yeah, I would agree there. And I didn't see an official report, but is Asia out?
No, it's Kia Stokes and Chelsea Gray.
Oh, Kia Stokes is out.
Becky said, like, even if it goes 5, like, she's not even certain to play 5. So, like, that's crazy.
What happened to Kia? I know this is an NBA show. What happened to Kia Stokes? I'm like, holy crap. She got hurt in the last game?
Yeah. Wow. Like, I didn't see it in the game. Like, I think she finished the game. Like, I didn't see her go to the locker room.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, we'll reconvene about that, Stephen. But the point is just to hop on that. Yeah, I'm curious. I gotta go back and check and see what that line went to, because I got it at 2.5. I can imagine if Kia Stokes out, given the Aces' lack of depth, that line is probably something crazy now.
Yeah,
5.5? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Absolutely.
I gotta throw this in there.
Yeah. What's up, Keith?
I think this is the perfect spot for Sabrina and Brianna to get their get back from game 1. It was like a +1,000 for 30 girls to score 20 plus. And they did it.
Yeah.
This is the perfect get back spot. So I'll definitely on DraftKings. So whenever Rockland Twilight has been around.
That is a fact, Keith. They let me down in game 2 because I thought that they would at least show up, and they didn't even show up and had me looking all crazy in the video play that I gave out because this was the only team that won, multiple games in Vegas this year. And you hate to see it. I'm not a Liberty fan. I'm a fan of the game. I love Asia Wilson. I think she's the best player, in the W. But they were a very top heavy team. So. And it doesn't even start with Chelsea Gray and Kia Stokes. It started with Candace Parker. Her being hurt, they probably would have really dominated the league without it. So, yeah. But back to the NBA. What are you thinking about the Pacers this year? What are your thoughts, Keith?
I really think the Pacers did a great job of building a culture based around their team identity. This team's going to run up and down. I love what they have with Halliburton and Nemhard. Drain the top, and of course, I want to keep reiterating what you guys said, but definitely agree with you guys here. I just wanted to add the fact that I've been really good at these preseasons. Like I'm up a good amount of units from predicting when the run is going to happen, and it usually happens in the second, third, or sometimes the fourth quarter, depending on if it's like the summer league lineup that went into one of those deep runs versus third string team. I know this market isn't available everywhere, but if you look in game while it's live, you can find second and third quarter margins. And what I'll do is I'll spread one unit 4 ways, and I'll play a quarter unit on a range. And sometimes I'll either go up 3 units just based off the play, or I'll end up going up like 7 or 8. Like yesterday, I took the Pacers to win the second quarter by 13 plus. Next thing you know, I forgot what we were playing. I don't know why it's on my mind, but they ended up smacking them. They scored 43 points in that second quarter. But the best thing about it is they're also very vulnerable to giving up runs. So that's one thing I'm definitely going to be keying in on. So I definitely agree with you on a lot of the overs here for this team. And I definitely want to see how they plan to play around their defensive liabilities. So that's definitely something I'm trying to look out for.
Yeah, Keith. You bring up a lot of really good points, especially from a betting perspective. When you see these teams go up by, 30, 40 points, 25 points, as long as they're not playing one of those international teams, don't live bet them. But you can make some money when those starters come out. I mean, you saw it yesterday, like you said, with the Pacers. They had 90. What was it? 90 was that 73 plus 21, 94 points at the end of the third quarter, and only scored 22 in the fourth quarter and ended up winning the game by 4 points. But they had it was 46-73 at halftime. So they had, a 37-point lead, end up winning the game by 4. So if you just live bet them at, at that time. And the way I've kind of played the NBA preseason is really just, it's information, man. The more information you have about who's going to be available, how long they're going to be available is how you kind of cap it. But I haven't been playing a lot. The ones that I absolutely love is the ones that I give out to you guys so that you guys can tell. And hopefully we can all, continue to cash together. But I agree with your sentiments on the rest of this team, Keith. I know you mentioned a couple people that I didn't mention as far as, Nemhard. I'm a big Nemhard guy. I know he didn't play last night. I like Naismith off the bench as well, just his defensive prowess. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. And Jalen Smith. We didn't mention Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is definitely a key component in my eyes as well for this team to be successful off the bench. So I like him, man. I like him a lot. We also didn't mention Daniel Theis. He's another guy, played in the Olympics over the summer, going to be in, really good shape. So, yeah, I like him as well. Right back to Stephen real quick, and then we'll jump into to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, I feel like we're all kind of aligned on the Pacers here. I'm trying to find a way to play them. What do you think about, I really like this one. It's minus 130, though. On DraftKings, they have their final seeding in the East, minus 9.5 is minus 130. Under 1.5, excuse me, minus 130.
Hold on. So what's the bet, Steph?
Final seeding in the East. So they'd have to finish 9 or better for minus 130.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's not, I don't like barring some kind of injury setback. Yeah, I think that's absolutely in play because I actually think that they can make the playoffs in my estimation. So I would definitely be taking that. The thing is like, and it, to each his own, like it's all about how you want to, distribute your units and how you like, are you comfortable with locking up, a certain amount of money for whatever you want to put on it for, the length of the season, because that seems like a smash spot to me, Stephen. But you do kind of risk it, you don't want anything to happen to Halliburton, anything to happen to, Miles Turner, because those will be the key guys. So yeah, that's the only thing that gives me a little cause for concern for myself. But yeah, that's a bet that I make 10 times out of 10 based on my evaluation of the team for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, appreciate
it. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the retweets, the likes as well. Let's jump into the Western Conference. So Dallas Mavericks are the team on the board for today. Looking at this Dallas Mavericks team, they are, let me get my notes pulled up. I got the odds at the bottom for people who are interested over on YouTube, so you can see those. But if you're listening on Twitter, I'll read them off to you real quick. The Dallas Mavericks are a minus 165 is actually the best odds for them to make the playoffs. I would not be playing that. To win the Southwest, they're actually a plus 200. To win the West in general, they're plus 1,500. And then to win the title, they're plus 2,500 as well. And this kind of no disrespect to the Mavericks. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you might want to jump off because you might not like what I'm about to say. But I was looking at this team odds on, I want to say Saturday or Sunday, and just kind of comparing them with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I feel like have a better team this year. And maybe I'm missing something, but looking at this team, I just don't understand it's a big disparity in odds to just to reach the playoffs, to win the title, to win the West. And it's like, I want to say like I got it. I'll tweet it out later. So I'm not going to get off on a big rant about these two, comparing the two teams, but these odds seem a little far-fetched to me, given what I saw with in comparison to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So let's go through it. So you look at additions. They do bring in while they kept the core together, they still have Luka. They re-signed Kyrie, gave him I think it was 3 years, 120-something million. They did kind of mix it up just a tad bit. You bring back Dante Exum. For people who don't remember him, he was the guard that was drafted by the Utah Jazz a couple years ago, spent some time overseas, so he's back. Steph Curry is back on this team as well. He had a stint already. So you bring in, some shooting with Steph Curry. You'll need that. You bring in Grant Williams in a trade with the Boston Celtics as well. Rashad Holmes was kind of kicked out of that rotation in Sacramento last year. So you trade for him. You get him to kind of give you an energy guy that'll be needed, especially on the block down low. And then, of course, they draft Lively from, I think Lively was at Duke. Yeah, Lively from Duke. And then you get Oliver Prosper as well. And I think that both of those drafted guys, I think both of them have good NBA careers. Like I'm pretty high on both of them, but they're raw in my estimation. And to me, when you have a bunch of raw guys with a bunch of seasoned guys, and you could consider Luka a seasoned guy now because he's been doing what he's been doing for quite a few years. And of course, Kyrie in double-digit years in the NBA. To me, that just doesn't bode well. And I kind of watched this team because they were the team that went to Abu Dhabi to play against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first preseason game that we got a hold of. I kind of watched this team play, and I'm like, I don't really like. That's not what I'm looking for, like from Dallas. First of all, I'll tell you guys a couple different reasons. So, well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. So as far as subtractions, they really only lost Reggie Bullock. But we know last year they made the trade for Kyrie that sent all of their defensive prowess, their defensive players over to the Brooklyn Nets because you let Dorian Finney-Smith go. He was the best, perimeter defender that they had. You look at the Mavs specifically in the second half of the season when Kyrie and Luka actually played together. This team was only 5-11 in games that Luka and Kyrie played together. And I know what you might be thinking, all right, Chris, pump your brakes. Like they didn't really, get a chance to, kind of mush, right? They didn't get a chance to really do that. They had a chance to make the playoffs and they couldn't get it together. Of course, they get more time to, they've had time over the season and the offseason to kind of, figure it out. But they failed to make the playoffs, which was a major setback for this team because people that got short-term memory might not remember. This team was actually in the Western Conference Finals the year before, close to competing for a championship with the Golden State Warriors. And of course, they end up losing that game. But the Mavs, to me, I think defensively they just really struggle because Lively is so raw, because Prosper is so raw. Grant Williams is an undersized center, so he's going to have his hands full when they need somebody to guard Anthony Davis, when they need somebody to guard Jokic, right? When they need somebody to guard, like if this team plays against the Phoenix Suns, who's guarding who? Nobody on this team can really guard anybody. Seth Curry is an excellent shooter. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. I think both of those guys are really, really good players, but to me, they just don't do it. I also don't really like that they are going to limp into the regular season. This was the first time. Well, I think I did read something the other day. The Mavs, plain and simple, this is going to be a team I fade a lot, specifically early in the season, I think. Or I'm just playing on the other teams to go over their team total, one or the other. And here's my reason why, besides what I just told you guys. So the Dallas Mavericks going to be in a very interesting situation where they'll be the first team, I want to say, in NBA history to ever play 3 games abroad. I said abroad. They'll be the first team to ever play 3 games abroad before in the preseason. And a lot of teams don't like to necessarily have to travel for preseason because you're having to get adjusted to time zones. You can't really do what you do at home, of course. And all of that stuff kind of catches up with you in the long run. So this Mavericks team, besides the 2 games that they played in Abu Dhabi against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they also played Real Madrid. I gave out Real Madrid on the money line in that game, and they ended up coming back and winning that game 2 weeks ago. Well, was that at the beginning of last week or the week before? Needless to say, doesn't really matter. The point is that while they will have time to recover, their last preseason game is actually on the 20th, which is this Friday. To me, that just doesn't – I don't like that, they had to do so much traveling. I don't like that they're limping. To me, it feels like into the regular season. Kyrie didn't play in either game. He missed both of the Abu Dhabi games, or he missed the second Abu Dhabi game, didn't play in the exhibition game against Real Madrid either. And then you also had Luka, who did something to his leg, and he was only able to play 5 minutes in that game. So to me, because they're still gonna struggle defensively, you have Dwight Powell, but he doesn't move the needle for me. Dwight Powell's never really moved the needle for me. And I think that's why you add the reassurance of getting a guy like Lively in the draft. I'm also not super sold on Maxi Kleber and his ability to be able to protect the rim. I love Maxi Kleber as a shooter. He's somebody that's going to extend the floor for you, especially when you have Kyrie and Luka in to be able to play make. But I don't know, man. I just don't feel good about this team entering the season. It's not a team that I'm really high on. Last year they finished 38-44. The books are anticipating them to kind of flip that this year. So 38-44 last year. Their win total this year is sitting at 43.5. So the books are anticipating about 44 wins, which will be 6 more than what they had last year. And while that is feasible, we know that the Western Conference is absolutely stacked, especially not just at the top, but in the middle, in that second tier, in the third tier. So, I think with everything that I've kind of said, Luka and Kyrie not really working together, neither one of them can guard anybody. I know Luka played in the offseason and he's going to come into the season in better shape than he did last season, but he's also going to come into the season not 100%. Lively being, like I said, being kind of raw, Prosper as well. I think those kind of, like, offensively, they don't have a lot of moves except running to the rim and hoping that, they'll catch the oop that Luka or Kyrie will throw to them. So I think teams will sag off of them, which will make it more difficult and kind of clog the paint for Luka and Kyrie to be effective offensively and play make. And they also have the 9th most difficult schedule. So this is not a team that I'm high on at all. I'm not really high on the Dallas Mavericks at all. And those are my thoughts. I don't see any comments over on YouTube, but if you guys got anything in the chat on Twitter, let me know. What are your thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks? Am I being too hard on them? Would you guys take this team to win the Southwest Division, which essentially you're picking them to beat the Memphis Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans? And I'm not sure that they do that. I actually like the Grizzlies and the Pelicans over the Dallas Mavericks if both of those teams can stay healthy, even with Ja Morant missing 25, being suspended for the first 25 games. But those are my thoughts, man. Maybe somebody else is high. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Anybody got anything on the Dallas Mavericks? Anybody looked into this team? I think I'm gonna be fading them. First game of the season, the Dallas Mavericks actually have. I was just looking at this the other day, and I was like, yeah, that might be a good spot to fade them in. First game of the season, they play the San Antonio Spurs, and it's in San Antonio. That'll be a game that I'm probably going to be on the over on. San Antonio continues to play with a lot of pace. We know in the first half of the season, in the first half of the game, they were flying over the total last year. And I think that their offense will look, similar to what it looked like last year. You just add Victor Wembanyama, who just helps this team kind of get out. He's trying to get out on the break and run as well. So I'll probably end up being on the first half over in their first game, which will be an ESPN game on next Wednesday at 9:30. Probably gonna be on that first half over, depending on what number we get there. But it don't look like I'm getting a lot of Keith. You're still up. You got any thoughts on this Dallas Mavericks team? Malik in the chat real quick said hard to count out a team with as much talent as Kyrie and Luka, but I honestly think they are Mark Cuban scandal away from a catastrophe. Oh man, I'm with you, Malik. And I like Mark Cuban. I think he's a solid owner, but yeah, this is not a team I'm willing to buy on right now. Keith, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel as though they haven't done anything to improve the roster immediately, and I think what they have is going to take some time. Kind of sucks as a kid from Jersey. Kind of want Kyrie to keep finding the best situation for his career. I just don't think this is one of them. I think Mark Cuban was on First Take. It was First Take. And he was speaking to Stephen A. He mentioned how he's trying to find players that complement Luka. So this is definitely not a team that I want to bet on in favor of me making money early. It's definitely a team I want to fade early. I might even just stay away from them early. I think they have great odds for them not to make the playoffs. It's just not something I'm going to put my money in long term. So definitely looking forward to see what we get out of role players like Josh Green and Jaden Hardy. I think they take the next step up. But other than that, I don't think I'm going to be looking to that team anyway. Maybe if they're over, or if they are terrible at defensive rotations, I'll definitely see how often they give up assists to slashing guards, slashing, and then how they rebound. And I know they definitely can't rebound the ball, so I'll definitely look to see what intangibles they show.
Yeah, and real quick, I think I got those numbers pulled up. Matter of fact, I do not have those numbers pulled up. I thought I had them pulled up, but I know they struggled to rebound the ball last year. They struggled to really have any resistance towards the paint. I mean, you can pretty much get whatever it is that you want. I'm taking a deeper look right now at their schedule to start the season. I was talking about fading them in the beginning. If you got your notepad out, write this down. So see if we can spot the trend here. First game in San Antonio. Second game at home against Brooklyn 2 days later. Next game, again in Memphis 2 days later. Next game 2 days later in Chicago. Next game at that they're at home against the Bulls. Then you fly out to Denver on Friday, so a day of rest in between. Then you come back home, you play Charlotte. Then you fly out to Orlando. Then you take on Toronto for your first for another home game, and then you finally get LA in a back-to-back home game. So the trend that I was trying to get you guys to see there is that their first 9 games they actually don't play in the same gym in a back-to-back spot at all. It's not until they host the Toronto Raptors and then they finally get to stay at home. They host the Raptors on a Wednesday, and then they'll get the Clippers at home on that Friday. So tons of to me that just kind of not playing in the same gym, not getting those 2 home games in a row, those 2 road games in a row. Really, that's to me that just shows their the NBA kind of put them in a dirty spot to start, because they'll be all over the place, especially for those rookies trying to figure out why they're flying here and flying there, and it'll be difficult for this Mavericks team. So I will be looking to fade this team, in some way, whether it's like I said, just taking the over or just fading them all together. I do think that they give up points to San Antonio in that first game.
I think Adam Silver knew what he was doing, making Wembanyama's first game against them too. I do have a couple notes on the Mavs. I think this was based off of their Abu Dhabi games. They're very vulnerable to the center power forward give and go.
Cat was killing them, right? Yeah, I remember that, Keith.
Can't guard it. They can't locate threes in transitions, and they can't grab offensive rebounds. So and the Spurs are a great rebound team based off that funding. So those are definitely assists and rebounds are definitely something we'll be looking at for their first game of the season.
Makes a lot of sense to me. I would be right there with you. I'm gonna jump into more the player props. I'll be doing a show just kind of looking at evaluating player props specifically as we get closer to the season. So we'll jump into a few more of those. Keep your hand still up. You got anything else, or did you kind of just already have it up?
Well, not my hand stuck up down.
Okay, all right, cool. I just want to make sure you got a chance to share everything you wanted to. But yeah, that's my thoughts, man. 36 minutes in the books. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, and those are my thoughts, man. Like I said, I'm pretty high on the Pacers, and I'm pretty low on the Dallas Mavericks. If you joined late, definitely hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the show over on YouTube, and turn the notification bell on so you guys know when I go live as well, because the times do kind of change. Tomorrow we have who do we have tomorrow? We got the Washington Wizards, DC, the DC pool party, and the Utah Jazz, a team that we'll kind of have to see about the Utah Jazz. I'm not 100% sure what direction they even want to go in. But yeah, we'll talk about the Washington Wizards and Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma and their outfits and all that good stuff, and the Utah Jazz tomorrow. And that's what I got for you guys today, man. Best of luck if anybody got any MLB. I know we got some MLB today, but I'm not touching that. And we do have a preseason today, Tuesday, right? So yeah, we don't have a preseason. We don't have a game. We got preseason games today, but if I have any bets, I'll share them with my group, with my YouTube group, and then I may post them on Twitter as well. If you guys are interested, it's $5.99 a month. The link is accessible by YouTube in the description. So, and when I say $5.99, it's just $5.99 a month. And those are my thoughts for today, man. Best of luck to everybody on any action that you guys got any elsewhere. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow.